Make a
Did we
motion
get 'em?
to accept the minutes of April 20th.
Second it.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Um, Today, what we'd like to do is, Jean is here to help with some new numbers. So I'm wondering if you could come forward, Jean, and we'll do it.
I hope you've got some good ones, Jim.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be good news. We could use some good news.
Okay, so, yep, sorry. What time do you want that meeting?
6:30? DPW starts at 7.
Go ahead, Jane.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what I did was I kind of started pulling some numbers together for you guys to see what the actuals look like at this point.
Uh-huh.
If you look at this sheet, this is the general fund.
Okay. Do we have a copy of it?
Yeah, it's your packet.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep going past that one. You should estimated local receipts on the top. Keep going back. Go the other way, Ken.
Yeah, okay, yep.
What time is it? Is it in the middle of all these other crazy
Yeah, it's
things?
after the budget.
Yeah, right after that one.
Oh,
That might be it.
Estimated local
Oh.
receipts. is
Go
under
one
there.
page back. Right, 2 pages back. There you go.
oh. Said the blind man.
So these are the revenues that were collected as of today. And I've broken them down just as the way it would end up on the recap sheet, the way Heather had it in her spreadsheets. So, you can see that the middle column is actual for 2017, so that's exactly what's been collected. And the next column was what we estimated for 2017.
Mhm.
So we're doing backwards, okay?
Mhm.
So, as you can see, the motor vehicle excise is probably pretty much, I think they have another commitment out right now. May come in where it's supposed to be. And then we go into penalties and interest, that's only about half. I don't know,
Mm.
Barry, you had a discussion with.
I did, I
Ask
asked
questions,
Nancy, why some of these appear to be like half of what the estimated was, and she said they have a commitment out right now, and to check back with her in 3 weeks. And she should have some more solid numbers by then, but I think that would be the last commitment for the year.
I think it is too,
Yeah,
yeah.
she didn't say that there would be any more commitments, so.
So we'll run it again in 3 weeks and see what the numbers come out to.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Payments in lieu of taxes is fine. And then it just goes into the different fees. Of course, the first one is tax collections again, and it's, 44, and it should be 95, so. And you can just go through these and see where we're at with the estimated,
Mhm.
all the way down. IT shared Rutland, we just found another misposting, so there's another payment in that too, so that's pretty close. We only have one more payment left from the town of Rutland to take care of that. And so right now, the bottom line is that we should be taking in 1.2 million and we're at 1,091,000, but there's still 2 months left. And like Nancy had said, there was another commitment out there, so a lot of that, it seems to me when I was going through, a lot of this was on the collection side, on her side, the differences were those numbers, so, this next collection, hopefully that will, but we'll redo it again in a few weeks, see where we come in with the jump. But I just wanted to give you guys an idea
Yeah,
of where we're at.
yeah, good.
Okay.
Good idea.
So
And
that,
that's
so that,
such good news,
one- up in
but-
our sheet in the front, then that 1, 2, 3, 1, looking
Yeah.
pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that would be level funding what we had last year.
Yeah.
I don't see any, there's no consistent new local revenue. you know?
Yeah.
I mean, we're just, what we have is what we
Yeah,
have.
okay. No, I guess the big thing, what we were doing, is wanted to make sure these numbers at the top made sense. That was the big thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do,
Yeah.
so that we can, we're on the same page and you know where we're headed here.
Yeah, good.
Okay?
It doesn't matter. I don't know which order I put it in, I think I went ambulance
Ambulance
last. No,
And it's last, okay. Okay, so, the next ones I did was,
Water.
I just had a question on what compromises. Who do we get the payment in lieu of taxes from other than Insight?
the
They
state.
presented one, but I was curious.
State.
Oh, for the conservation and all that, thank you. I appreciate it, just helps me.
Sorry.
I got this Okay, so, let's, I did water and sewer, so you can see where they're at. I think they're pretty good, I think we're gonna be able to cover their own budget except for sewer.
Now, on these sheets, it doesn't show, what their loans are, right?
No, the loans are on that other sheet. You copy that, Steve? Which one?
That's, I can pull it up. That's on Nancy sheet. That's in the budget that Nancy sends to us, which has maturing debt. That's what it's called. I'll pull it up on this screen, but I did not print it.
Did you correct it?
Yes.
Okay.
So there was a couple corrections on this sheet. Jean went through, fine tuned them. So this is called the maturing debt sheet in
Yeah.
your budgets.
Yeah,
Um,
So go down to,
So we made some,
let's do water first.
Okay.
Okay, so water has one debt payment that has dropped off this year, which was the Root Road.
Thank you.
That's gone
Yeah,
now.
that's 50,000 right here.
So we're down to, so 32,031 was the number. So that would be the water debt for 2018. So if you look at the water revenue, I did 2017, and I also printed out 2016, so you could see a comparison where it ended last fiscal year and where it was headed this fiscal year. This fiscal year, it's 471,240, but there is a commitment out right now for water. I called Jason, it was 127,454. So it brings up that number, we should get most of that money in by the end, so it'd be up to 598,694, which is still less than last year. Why, I don't know, I haven't talked to Jason or anybody about the number, so. So I was looking at the budget, what they wanted for 2018 for the budget, which was 489,535. The debt, 32,031, and their health and dental portion, 25,000, came up to 547,039 from the Water Enterprise Fund, and
547 now.
547,039 for the total of the water budget. And, you know, estimating at this time, their revenue is gonna be 598,694, so it's well within able to carry.
Say the
it.
number again?
598,694. So it
So
should,
that's good, Dick.
just with
So
estimated
they're-
receipts, they should be able to carry their
Yeah.
own, everything on their own.
So they'll have money in the bank.
okay,
Yeah.
so now on our sheet, under Water Department anticipated receipts, we show 497. It should be 598, is that what we're saying?
Well,
No.
right now,
No.
it's gonna be the 497 because we haven't collected the rest of the money yet. They just put out a commitment just now,
But they're
so
going to.
I'm just
So that-
estimating that we're.
Oh, but I mean, is that a good number? That's the thing I want to make sure is the 497 number that we have in our sheet, Gene?
On the
That's
bottom
their
sheet.
budget.
It's,
Gene, look up here. Oh.
Yeah.
At
See?
the bottom, the 497 number.
I think it's gonna be raised,
Yeah.
because the budget, is the budget on there, 489,530?
Yeah. 489,535. So they've got to cover
So
that.
We
they've
have
got,
497,035.
so we'll have to change that, Faye, we'll have to change that to offset the revenue right to that number,
Okay.
because we also have to include.
The 489.
Yeah, we also have to include the debt. Did we change the debt on them too? I'm not sure. Just make a note, we'll have to.
Okay.
So in the revenue side, we're gonna match,
Yeah, we're gonna
match
match the
it,
budget.
okay.
And the health insurance part of their budget for the health,
Oh,
dental,
okay.
and the debt.
So there has to be enough
There'll be
revenues, receipts on this
Yeah.
line to match all
To
of
match
those.
all that
That's
up,
gonna
so
help
that's
us, Richard,
funding
big time.
itself.
We did change
Well,
the debt
it just covers their own.
to the
It
30,
won't help us
31.
because we
We
can't
just
touch
gotta
their money.
change that.
No, but
Receipts.
when you,
No,
It's
we're
gonna-
waiting
it's
for the
gonna-
receipts because the commitment just went out.
So it's equal to what
that
they're
revenue
spending.
matches
Right.
the other,
Yeah,
it's not gonna
that's the
cost
way
the
it
town
usually
any
is.
money.
No, it shouldn't, an enterprise account shouldn't cost the
Right,
town
but,
money.
but now in our budget sheet, we are costing the town money
That's
the way
why I
it's written.
questioned it.
Yeah,
And the debt on there, I would plug in the revenue number, the same. We'll do it.
Okay.
okay, great, that makes me feel very
So that-
warm.
So their budget washes what they receive.
Yeah, water
Yeah.
should, they should have extra, whatever, that'll close out, I think, at this point.
It'll close up for
At this
cash,
point, we'll
right?
rerun them in a few weeks
No.
and see what
No,
happens.
They're
it's-
free cash. The enterprise is free cash.
Yeah, that'll go to theirs, because they're enterprise.
Retained earnings, right.
Retained earnings.
Okay, good.
Get rid of that free cash, that's
But
a
we'll run
bad
'em-
term.
We'll run them again.
Yeah.
see what
Okay,
happens.
gee, great,
Okay.
okay.
So then we go to sewer.
So that's a good thing.
I also did 2 sheets, one for last year with the actuals and one with this year, for where we're at right now. They also have a commitment out for $125,047.
What was that number?
125,047. And Jason also told me that they're doing a 10% rate increase in 2018 for sewer. So that's gonna bump their revenue too.
Yeah, because they needed at least a 5 to break even, so that's gonna,
So, I took their budget off of there, which was $634,399, added their share of health and dental, $26,534, and level funded at this point what they have for their debt, which was $75,000, which is always what we've always just put in there at this point, although their debt is higher than that.
That's right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we tried at one time to get more, but
I don't know at this point what we can do with it. I think we'll wait a little bit longer,
Yeah.
run the numbers again, maybe see what we can.
Where do we stand right now with their debt?
Where are we
In-
now?
Is it on there? So you just
No,
have-
Jean has it on a debt sheet.
Well, they've still got debt exclusion of 85,000, and they've got regular debt of 156,000. So 85,480 and 156,093 is what their actual debt is.
Roughly 241,000.
Yeah.
So you add that to their,
Yeah, but they're not, they won't be able to cover all that. I doubt it. Not at this point, I don't think so. So we've always taken 75,000 from them to
Right.
offset some of this.
but I'm just trying to come up with a real figure.
I know, I can't come, I don't think I would come up with a real figure right now.
Why can't we? We got their debt. We got their income.
Yeah, but we still need to figure out, I still need to figure out the retained earnings. We might be able to, but then they probably have no allowance.
at one point, they were given 100,000
Really?
a few years
Yep.
ago.
They were?
Yeah, they were
Okay.
given 100 and then they had to drop it because
Okay.
they couldn't,
Well,
but,
I'll finish up the year and get the retained earnings, and then we can see where we can go from there, maybe we can squeeze another.
No, just explain to them the reasoning why. Because they're supposedly running under an enterprise account?
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So they're supposed to be self-sufficient.
Yep. Okay, well, we'll try.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now then we'll leave the 75,000.
Yeah, we'll leave the 75.
In
for
there.
now, And see what,
Yeah.
run it again,
Yeah.
see what the revenue's coming in, if it's jumped up or not. And if we put the earnings on there and see what they have in there, retained earnings and everything.
Oh, that's good.
maybe it's going on.
Could try.
Always good to try.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's good, that's checking that number down. Okay, so basically the sewer and the water business needs another look.
Sewer,
Sewer.
definitely.
Water's fine.
Water's fine.
Water has been pretty much
So,
supported.
Yeah.
so the 32,031 is a good number,
Yes,
Mhm.
okay,
yeah, because the
Okay.
road is gone.
okay. Good.
So the last one I went through was ambulance. Which I did that too, I did 2017 and 2016, so you could compare the numbers. And it's down from last year. Pretty good. And then I also had Faye print out, we did this, we've been doing the review spreadsheets, which is the collection from the ambulance.
That's the last pages.
Yeah.
And we did 2016 and 2017 on that too, so you can see where the receivables are and the collections and the revenues.
So that, I can just,
It's down to, but we talked to Rob, one of the problems we talked to Rob was saying about the ambulance not running last year, it's not because of the breakdown and stuff.
Yeah, and not being able to staff it.
Yeah. So,
I think he said this year to date, don't quote me on this, but we've called other towns over 100 times. So 100 times our ambulance did not go out.
Yeah,
For
he has-
one reason or another.
He had
whether-
all the numbers last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
which is reflected in the reason why the revenues are down
Mm.
too. We
Right.
can't go out, so we don't have to.
Now, I had a question for Robin, he didn't really know. He keeps talking about what Medicare pays for the ambulance,
Mhm.
and the billing, do they bill the secondary insurance? Because, like I know with mine, they pay full amount.
I think they, from talking with Coastal, like when we
Okay.
met with them,
Yeah.
they go to the primary,
Yeah.
and then they go to secondary, and
They
they just
do.
exhaust all resources
Yeah.
before it becomes
Okay.
outstanding.
I
You
didn't
where it
know if they were
becomes patient-
following through, or they were just
no.
doing Medicare and not looking for another one.
No, they seek everything out.
We have a
Okay.
good billing company
Yeah.
now,
Mhm.
really good.
Mm.
I mean, they're very thorough.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And I believe they even have in-house collection agents, like
Oh.
in-house
Yeah.
collection. So
Yeah.
even when it exhausts insurance and it goes to patient pay, they have collection company that tries to go that route, but.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're really good.
okay. I didn't know if they were, and Rob didn't seem to know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's good,
Mhm. Yeah, they're a great billing company.
yeah.
so,
So
just the
basic-
layman's terms,
Yeah.
the ambulance is estimated taking $275,000 this year?
360.
275, 740 is what's in right now,
Right.
okay? We still have 2 months left, May and June, and so I took an average of what's been collected over the year,
Yep.
which has been about, I'm thinking about another 50,000. So,
Basically $25,000
A
monthly
month.
as an
About
average.
I mean, an average over what's
Yeah.
been
So
collected.
it'll be about
360.
325.
So, we add that to it, I come to about 318 for revenue. But the fund itself has 309,000 in it, 309,560 right now. So if I added $50,000 more on revenue, it brings us up to about 359,561. So that's pretty much where your cap is gonna be, I'll take it from the ambulance fund. So probably like 360 from the actual ambulance fund.
And it's costing us,
So we would put 360 would be our ambulance receipts, that's why we got the 360 in there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good number
For right now.
for right now,
That's a
yeah.
good number.
For-
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we'll check all these numbers when we get.
Yeah, no, I'm just,
Before we go, we'll do
right.
another purge of all of them and see what we're coming out, but
ambulance.
based on what's been happening.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the big thing, Gene, is
Yeah.
just take a look at these numbers and see,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yep.
how
Where
good
they
they
Where
stand.
are.
they are,
And-
yeah,
and
where we are on it.
hopefully, if you saw something really out of whack, that's, we have to change it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're taking in roughly 360 in that, to run it, it's costing us 434.
Yeah,
That's the,
Yeah.
proposal. If
Right.
we were to level fund it, it would be 401, but you'd run into the same revenue deficit.
Right, and they would say the
Right.
same thing because they didn't
We're
have the
hoping to pick up
people to
Correct.
staff it.
Correct, I think the
With
434
going
was
with a
option
new-
B.
where they can go
that
out
you
on
guys-
more
Right.
So, it's kind of meeting in the middle, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just making the point of,
Yeah.
you know, it's taking in 360, and we're spending 434.
yep,
Yeah, that's
Just so
why,
I understand it right.
yeah,
Yep.
right.
hoping to go
I
with
think
the
that,
higher
I think
budget.
that the one advantage of the way we put in the Plan B, and if the half-time fire helper guy goes in, the opportunity for revenues of the second ambulance,
Yeah.
we haven't evaluated it, we haven't put it in anywhere, but the possibility of that happening, I think, is
Thank you.
better.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think we can go in anywhere else and add revenue for that. We just hope it comes in and works out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Great.
That's all you had for us, right?
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
have
that's
now.
super, Gene, thank
Still
you.
working on the other stuff, and hopefully in a few weeks I'll come back and rerun the numbers and we'll have good news.
Yep. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jean.
Yeah, thanks, Gene.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So,
Matt's
one,
got a question. too.
oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Just, when Jean was here, I was just curious, we had talked possibly about her helping estimate a number for capital, am I correct? How much we have, we could add to capital debt? Didn't we have a line item like, so the capital planning committee would know how much they should kind of look at, so they could find a way to,
what our
if
debt,
we didn't have a new
how
capital
much debt
debt
could we
addition to
incur?
this budget, we were like,
That's
how
what
much
they're
could
talking
we
about.
look
Yeah.
at?
Was that a question for
We went back and forth, and
Yeah.
I thought
Oh, I don't.
you were saying Jean might know that
Well,
also.
Yeah.
I could find out.
But I know we went back
But I'm
and
not
forth
gonna
between
give
the
you-
accountant or the treasurer who would have that
I wouldn't give
answer.
you a number now without looking into it.
No,
I was just
no,
bringing it
yeah.
up to see if it's something
The
that,
question is who is the contact for
I
telling
can
us
find
who the
that out.
debt, where the
The
debt.
debt ratio is
Ratio
to
is,
Yeah.
the
yeah.
levy limit and all that, yeah.
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 I could, we can find that.
Okay, so we can work on that.
We can work on that.
Okay.
We'll find that out.
That
Yeah, it
is,
was
I
just-
thought it was Jean.
yeah, we were
But-
talking, I couldn't remember where it
Whether
landed,
it
so I
was-
just figured
I've
while
seen
she
it
was
Before,
here.
but I'm not gonna say what it is because I haven't looked at it.
Okay.
Is it something
And
you'd
I
like to
understand
know
that.
by
It
next
was
week?
More to
Big
ask
deal
the
or a
question
little
rather
deal?
than look for the answer.
Yeah, I probably can at least, I can at least tell you what the ratio is. Yeah, we can find that out. That's easy.
Okay.
To know if we can,
Well, we were
Or
talking about
anything
that little
more.
cushion of if we were gonna add capital this year, how it would affect our debt payments to fit into the next year's budget. So when the capital planning board is saying, okay, we recommend this capital investment, this one and this one, then the treasurer would say, okay, that comes out to an average annual payment of, and that's the number we wanna know how to fit into this budget, so we know what the capital costs would be. And that was kind of the question, I didn't know how quickly that develops, so I didn't know if it had to land in this fiscal year coming, or if it holds for a while and then it shows up in the next one, I didn't know the
Well,
whole.
the thing is,
Process of that.
we have a line for pay-as-you-go
Yeah.
capital.
That's
Okay.
if you can
Is
fund
that-
it within the tax levy.
Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about, Matt?
no.
Are
No.
you talking about borrowing?
What we can
or-
borrow.
You're talking about the capacity, right?
The
Borrowing,
limit.
set- oh, the borrowing line.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
How much-
all
If we
right.
could
Yeah.
borrow.
If we
Charlie
could
said
borrow,
the pay-as-you-go
yes.
also doesn't have a number, so that was the other question.
Which one?
Well-
Because there is no articles, the articles have just come in. Remember, it closes today at 5 for the warrant articles. That's where it becomes put in right here, because we don't have a total yet until you guys review all of that. Because we don't know.
So the capital planning board is submitting articles?
No, the departments are, so it's gonna have to go through the capital to see, they can look at it first and say, wait a minute, It's not slated for here, toss it. You know what I'm saying? And you guys as well have to go through them and then look at if there's $150,000 worth of articles for spending, whether we can manipulate it into this budget or not.
All right, because I was a little confused then, because, so all the departments
Yeah. we
have
can't-
already submitted their capital
They don't get
requests for
it.
this fiscal year.
Mhm.
And the capital planning board is now reviewing those, possibly push some out if they think it's better for the whole, we had talked about this, right? Like, not having too high of a year or too low of a year. But we're at a point now where we have a warrant that's gotta close by tonight. Do the departments know that they needed to request everything they put on that by tonight, so we could then cut it
Oh, yeah.
out later?
They all got an email saying that the warrant was open, that it was closing at 5 PM on May 3rd.
But they don't think that their capital request plan is part of that warrant request? That's what I'm wondering is, because how do we know? In other words, we're closing the warrant before anybody has said this is the appropriate capital item to put into the warrant.
Yeah, but that does not
I
come
think
from
they
the
ask for what they
capital
want.
committee.
for the
That comes from the
open
capital improvement committee, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Right,
So
but
they
that's
should
my,
be working
we're
on that.
closing the warrant
We can
tonight.
open the warrant, though.
and we don't have any schedule for the capital planning board to come before us and say, this is what we advise to put on the warrant.
You can open it and close it when you do that. Right
That's fine,
now,
I'm
I
asking.
would
This is
say we
something
don't
new to me,
have
so I
any
am
money.
trying to just,
Yeah.
Right,
No, it's really
right.
We don't have any
You don't
money,
have any
Matt.
money right now,
So
so it's
we
not
don't
like
have the
the
pay-as-you-go.
articles are gonna matter.
I know,
Yeah.
but there is the line item that we were trying to fill out, and
Right.
they, and I didn't know how we were gonna get
That's-
that number, and it sounds like
No,
all of this
it's
is
not a
part of that
line
process
item.
of getting that number. And I was
Yes.
just trying to learn the process,
That
not say,
number, so basically,
That's really not a
that
line
number's
item.
not there yet. It does not exist yet.
right.
Okay, that's why it's not filled in, because we don't know what the capital requests are.
Have we had anybody submit an article request for capital improvement from the other departments?
We have a file.
So you have received
Mhm.
in this warrant opening? Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm just asking, I'm learning the process.
Well, I thought we talked about, that Charlie brought us some figures, that our debt capacity to keep it, and I think it was in 12% of our, or 8%, I don't remember.
Eight.
Would be
Eight.
$960,000,
Mhm.
and we're under 600,000, so we have capacity if we want or need to borrow. And I have a note here, I didn't pay attention to where I put it from, but we had two notes that are coming off at $54,000 each, for $108,000 clearing off of our recurring payments. I don't know if that's
Say-
if these are finishing in 2018, or if they're finished now. And that might be freeing up the room, I think Matt was
When the
talking about.
schools dropped off.
In other words, do we have money coming
Right.
off of our long-term notes?
Yeah.
And I think that's what Matt was trying to ask before. Are there payments we
Yeah,
have that are tapering off
It
and coming to an
supports
end? That's
into
gonna
debt.
give us a place to fill another note in and kind of continue that same money.
I
Some
don't
of-
think you
some of
really
them-
can look at it that
Some of
way.
them will be coming off, like Water Root Road just came off this year, that's no longer there.
Right.
And then in 2020, the debt excluded sewer treatment plant will come off.
But keep
That's
in
for
mind,
2020.
the borrowing for the common project will be coming on.
Mhm.
It's not
Yeah,
there
this-
yet. The common project borrowing, we've been
The second
rolling
half.
interest only, right?
Well,
Interest.
we have right now, half of the common project is on debt excluded, totally funded. And within this next year, the second half of that should go on. So
That's
that'll
like-
be
So
fully
that'll be a
funded,
larger-
fully debt excluded.
Right, so those are the things we definitely need to look at when we're considering the capital plan.
Because if you look at the master sheet, Greg, like the Ruggles Lane roof, that was,
At the
last
top.
few years was 69,000. Now it's up to 110 because now it's the real deal. Now you have it bonded.
Right.
So that's what our
Now it's
actual
real
payment
payments.
is. And then you're looking at it that way, that we're taking some of this off, the debt off, but also you gotta remember, our income has dropped also. So you
Oh,
can't just
I know there's a
automatically.
lot to look at, I'm just saying, that's what we're
Yeah.
saying.
No,
If
you're-
there are things coming off payments,
Gene, that's
it's-
what they're
we wanna
looking
know what's
for,
coming
is
off.
Right.
That's
how
gonna
much
help
we
against
could
the things that are
borrow.
going on.
And not be
Yeah.
detrimental
Clearly,
to the
there's a lot
town.
going on.
Yeah, I had done some
That's what they're
figuring
trying to
after the
figure.
meeting last week, it came up with
Yeah.
pretty close numbers actually to it. But my thought was that, you know, just given the constraints we're under, and there's a pretty good chance we might not even know going to town meeting with the way the state is going right now. I had thought was we'd delay on some of the capital items until we had our, maybe we could get our free cash certified in November or something, go back and use a portion of that.
Yeah.
And that would, you know, and in terms, that would buy us some time at the very least, but we would kind of help balance things out at the town meeting. And one of the other things I had looked in, I had given some thought to, we have a very large snow removal account. And I think we can reduce that with the understanding we may be able to revisit it in the fall with a free cash figure. I don't like seeing it too high, because if we don't need it, we're taxing people for money we don't really need.
I mean, and this, the way we put 103 in this
Yeah,
thing here.
that's my concern, but, you know, and in
Well,
terms of
you
debt coming
But we
off,
went
your
over
bottom
it.
line, the amount of money we need to appropriate regardless of what's coming off and going on, the end figure includes all those numbers.
Yeah.
The problem with the snow and ice is that you have to appropriate every year the same amount, or if you don't, you reduce it, you will not be able to deficit spend it. So,
No, he's saying the overage of 130,000, to pay that with free cash in the fall, go out.
you have to do that.
You have to do it
You
now.
have to do it now, because that's gotta be taken care of on your tax rate, when you set your tax rate. And
Okay, so
I-
that can't be delayed then.
So,
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah, gotcha.
Okay,
Okay, well, that shoots
Thank
that
you.
one out of
you
the
still
water.
have to appropriate.
But I was thinking, Charlie,
Yeah.
that on the pay-as-you-go for
Mhm.
this budget, put it 0 right now.
I
Yeah.
don't know if we can't, the snow removal, you mean?
No,
No, the
Oh,
payas-you-go
oh,
capital.
Oh, yeah,
Capital
yeah,
purchases?
yeah, you and I are talking basically.
Right,
Just
because
0.
you would pay for that probably with free cash.
Sometime.
Anyway, that would be a good use of free cash, not an operating thing. So all it's gonna do is push a lot of numbers around
Yeah.
and
I
make
got
it look real bad.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
was my feeling.
Yeah, you and I
Yeah.
are saying the same.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have anything else for Jean, you hanging out, or?
What is the story on free cash? What is that
Still
looking?
closing 2016. Few more
And
weeks, hopefully.
a couple more?
Yeah, hopefully, by the end of the month.
Great.
I'm hoping. Yeah.
So that will give us the number
That'll be.
for that,
Town
by the
meeting.
town meeting time.
Yes,
That'll give us the number.
yes,
Okay,
before town meeting, yeah.
yeah.
All right, do you
But it
guys
won't
wanna
get certified until the fall.
start at the top?
Yeah,
Right, this
let's,
one will get certified before town meeting.
Oh, will it?
Yes,
Oh,
this
okay.
one will.
16,
Okay.
2017 will get certified in the fall.
Okay, so we're like 1 year?
Yeah, we're like 1
Yeah,
year behind.
okay.
Well, hopefully by the fall we're caught up.
Because we used to
Hopefully.
Right, I
take
get it.
that free cash that was certified in the November
Mhm.
and use it the following June.
Yes, because you
But
have to
then
use
we
it by
got-
June 30th.
We got caught in the thing so that we were
Yeah.
using it ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you have to use it by June 30th.
Yeah.
So whatever gets certified now, you've got to use at the town meeting. You've got to do something.
that
with
will
that.
not be a
I
problem.
know
Yeah.
you won't have- I know you won't have
Balance
a
the
problem with that.
Now you should be thinking about putting some money back into that stabilization.
Oh, yeah.
Let's hope it's big numbers. so we can
If there's
balance it.
7.9 holes, then we do
That'll
have
save
money for
us,
that.
right?
Right. All right, so if you guys wanna start at the top of that budget worksheet, if you can
Yeah.
see the teal numbers, I had a chance to meet, with Richie one day, I worked on it, and met with Ted another day. If any of you wanna come in and do the same thing, I'd be happy to sit down and take your thoughts and be able to manipulate it and work on it like that.
And just to tell you, these are just suggestions.
Yeah, these are
These
suggestions.
Just to bring to the board.
Yeah,
So the first teal represents a change that I may have made on the sheet from the last time. So as you can see, I punched in the school number that came in. It came in a little lower than we had been planning, although it's still higher than we can
Now, is
afford.
that their definite number, or they're still
Uh,
working on it?
I think that's their definite number at this point, because they had to submit a budget by,
It's the number they gave out, but we don't know if everyone can meet it. So it's what I call
Yeah.
the first real number we've seen. And it's 5.14%, we had 5.5.
After that meeting, the school meeting, I talked to a couple of people, they were talking, from New Braintree,
They can't,
and then she said they're not gonna be able to make it.
Impossible.
well, so then,
But this girl that I talked to, I didn't get her name, she's on the Pathfinder School Board, School Committee.
uh-huh,
And their Pathfinder is looking for a school to pick up one of their courses, their vocational
the
courses.
plumbing course.
Well, they seem to be not going to Pathfinder, the school. They're having a hard time to get Quabbin interested in Pathfinder.
Oh, I
Quabbin
heard,
pushes Monty Tech,
well, it's not all the towns can go to Pathfinder.
so I didn't know what the
Not all the
reason.
towns within the district can go to Pathfinder. Like Hubbardston, for example, can't go to Pathfinder.
But
Hardwick
if the
can.
Hardwick
Pathfinder,
can.
if Pathfinder had a vocational course in Barry at Quabbin, why couldn't Hubbardston go to that?
No, they could then, but I'm just saying that.
'Cause that's
some
what
of the
they're
towns
interested.
can't go to Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Quabbin is kind of split when it goes to vocational.
Yeah.
Some towns can't go to Monty Tech, some can't go to Pathfinder. It's, the towns have an agreement, it's my understanding the towns have an agreement with those particular vocational schools.
Yeah.
Not the district has an agreement. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maureen's
okay.
supposed to be talking with Monty
But
Tech about
Pathfinder
doing
said they're
something.
very interested, and they've outrun their school, and they can't afford to build on again.
Well,
And
we're
she
interested
said-
in Using our open
Yeah,
space for school.
The
Yes.
Quabbin open space
For,
to,
for some, not just academic courses, some actual
vocational,
hands-on.
come in with a
vocational
vocational
stuff.
program, use some of the rooms, and,
But supposedly
to
Maureen's
expand their
talking with
program.
Monty Tech about the same thing, because
Yeah.
Monty Tech has a waiting list of, I forgot how much percent. They can't
But if-
accommodate everyone. So that hopefully may, even under the two, the fifth and sixth grade, moving up to the Quabbin, it still gives them room for vocational stuff at Quabbin. There's room at that building for more, so we'll see what, something could happen.
well, the
on
way
that.
they talked, they said Quabbin hasn't come to talk to Pathfinder.
Well,
And
that's
she
what
didn't
she
know
said,
why,
but-
and she was gonna try to push
Yeah, well,
it through the committee,
yeah,
All right, so,
because why not?
right.
if, if the school could take 4.5% instead of 5.3, I believe it's a $270,000 savings for us. What was that? Was that the number we punched in?
Yeah, we punched that in, but I don't think it came up to that much.
If they go to 4.5%, it'll reduce the budget 32,000 from
Oh,
what it is
32,000.
now, okay? So basically, we'll just have to see how that goes.
Well, I think what you have to do is, we go through all of this, see where you stand, and you just tell them, you don't see how it goes, say,
Yeah,
this is how much money we have,
Yeah,
yeah,
and you know damn well there's not gonna be a Prop 2.5 override in this town.
no.
no.
Okay, so if we go down the list, town accountant, she had,
Well, you put in, you told about the cherry sheet number we put in, right?
no, I skipped past that. So I went to the state website and found, the house number.
House budget number.
House
Okay,
budget.
that's the number.
Yeah,
I was
it's
looking for that today and didn't see it.
1085640.
Yeah,
And the governor's budget is
not quite.
186,043, so it's not too far off,
Yeah,
but again, who knows?
yeah, so hopefully it'll be around that.
Hopefully, so that I had just plugged in that house
Mhm.
number.
So at least those numbers are the best they can be right now.
Correct. And I think that's all we made on the top, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we go to Jean's budget.
Well, let's start, Monty Tech is next week. They're
Are
gonna
they
come
coming
in
in?
Mhm.
Okay.
next week.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So Jean had asked for, an increase in her hours to get up to 30 hours. And then also for an assistant for 10 hours. I talked to Jean, and she's willing to compromise with us, to have her assistant do 10 hours every other week. So basically 5 hours weekly if you did it out that way. But 10 hours bi-weekly or however you use the hours. So that's that edit, that change on there.
Mhm.
Ambulance, I marked it teal because the chief presented, the B budget.
Yep.
So I changed that. Cemetery had sent an email, which I forwarded along to you guys, stating, they still want the increase in hours for their admin, but they're willing to take it out of the salaries for the mowing. So it's like $3,500 and slide it. So that's why that number is changed. Again, I, can tell you guys that the cemetery's been making some really good strides on trying to get stuff together, and I think it's needed,
Yeah.
and, so I think that was a good compromise on their end. Town clerk, that budget I changed, or not changed, but lowered. She was looking for a file clerk. So I figured we could, that could be a way of savings. That was a wish kind of list.
Mhm.
I think that's the only one on that.
Yeah, and she could also maybe utilize the tax work-off program.
Which she does now. She does have a lot of senior work off, so maybe she could utilize it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
the selectmen did vote to increase, like we had talked, the amount of hours they can work now from the dollar, it comes down to dollar amount, it's the federal minimum wage. You take $1,500 now, divide it by the federal minimum wage, which is still $8 an hour, and that's how many hours you get.
That statute for the credit work thing, it's not a state law for the, having to have your taxes paid up. Any rules are made through the selectmen or the
Okay.
town.
Okay.
So it must be either a bylaw
I don't think
or,
it's a bylaw,
I
but-
tried to look in the bylaws, but I didn't see
Okay.
anything.
Yeah, I can follow up on that. I honestly haven't had time to read
Yeah,
that up.
well, I was doing
apologize.
some stuff this
Sure.
afternoon and I just pulled it up.
Okay.
I just got one question.
Yes, sir.
If I'm correct, the senior work-off program is literally just changing it from a reduction in expense to a reduction in revenue.
Yeah,
The
that's-
senior work-off program is good because you can use people, but you're not necessarily helping yourself because you're just changing which column you're deducting from. You either have a budget or you're not getting a tax income.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So senior work-off doesn't really resolve when someone's use seniors instead of putting it in the budget, because it just means you're not gonna use your income.
But you
I
gotta
have
look
to
at.
disagree a little bit because you're paying the seniors $8 an hour.
Yeah.
Well, I think when that came about, we were looking at it at a different view. The view was, we were helping our seniors in
Correct.
town, trying to pay their taxes, which are, a lot of them are on a fixed income. And on top of that, we were helping them reduce their tax bill.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand also, Matt, we were helping the departments that needed some assistance.
Right. I think we have a total.
I see all that, okay. I just meant when it was just numbers.
It
If you're
just-
just looking at numbers, okay, I was just,
Yeah.
but I
think-
see what you're saying
yeah,
too,
I
because it's a
think-
different rate, so in a way, you're getting a little bit out of that.
And there's no cost,
Yeah, no
extra
withholding.
cost to the town for like OPEB or, I
Yeah,
mean,
you don't-
OBRA, I'm
yeah, I
sorry.
got you. You don't have your fringe benefits and
And-
taxes.
Yeah,
I think
There's
we
nothing.
utilize,
Yeah, you're right.
I think we utilize maybe 5 to 10 senior work-offs. I think that's around there, so it's not,
That's great.
yeah,
So,
it's really
yeah,
good.
those other numbers do start to add up, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's good.
Okay.
Conservation.
Conservation Commission, so they had an increase and it was in expenses to purchase a camera. So they were looking for $500. I figured if we could meet them with this up $250, kind of a compromise. I know it's only $250, but
Maybe
might-
they get
it-
every 250 counts.
It could at the end, yeah. Okay, so fire department, I think I highlighted this blue because he made a change with you guys, he presented a change in budget. I think there was a decrease in that fire inspector's
Yeah.
hours, so I
Yeah.
just made it blue so that you would know it was changed from the last time I
Just got
touched this sheet.
one- Did we decide last time that energy management and civil defense
It is
is
the
the
same
The
same
same
thing?
thing.
It's the same thing.
Yes.
So, do one of those puppies guys, or do we put 2,000 in?
No,
No.
it's 1,000.
No, I asked the fire
Okay.
chief about this, and for years it was called civil
Yeah.
defense. Since like September 11th and everything's kind of modernized and it's become emergency management. So the
Yeah.
$1,000 is $1,000.
Right, but we still have it in the second page here, under civil defense. So do we still have civil
No,
defense?
we
it
do
isn't.
not, that should be wiped out.
Okay.
Good call.
Yeah.
No,
they
no,
took it
no.
out.
I'll highlight that blue.
$100.
Next time I'll join you for dinner, Gene.
I took it out.
Didn't you ask me about this the
What?
other day and I just
I couldn't
obviously
figure out what the
completely
hell it was,
ignored you?
yeah.
Okay. So, I think the only other excess in the fire department budget would be that fire inspector. Even though he decreased it to the 20 hours, that's the only extra in his budget.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just made a note of that. Going down, police department.
Yeah.
We could touch that.
That one needs some serious looking.
Serious looking.
Yeah.
And what,
Do you wanna bypass that for a minute?
yeah, let's go
Okay,
through the
let's-
other
We can
stuff.
come back to police.
Yeah,
So, selectmen's insurance, that's still just an estimate. Some of our prices have come in. They're starting to come in now, so one of them came in $3,000 lower, that's super. So I'll keep changing this as we go, but I'm gonna keep it yellow just because we're still operating on some estimates.
yep.
Selectmen's expense, 13,220. Not sure about that one, why that changed.
You added a third selectman to the stipend.
That could be it.
Well, mine should-
$700.
My stipend has to be deleted, I can't accept it from the firefighter still, so I can't take a stipend, so that can come out.
And I won't be taking it either.
Okay, you guys make up your mind now.
Well, mine's out, I can't.
The only reason I didn't say anything before is, again, at the end of the year, when you gotta take unspent money and move it to another account, it's like, not a bad placeholder. But technically, I will be denying
If you guys tell me right now
it
what you wanna
because,
do, I'll make the change now.
yeah.
Yeah.
The law's not really clear about being employed by the same municipality when it says you can only take one salary. So I don't wanna get into that mess, so I'm just gonna ignore
Okay,
it.
so is
I
anyone
don't-
taking it? Charlie, you taking it?
No, I won't take it.
Okay,
I'd
so,
forgotten all about it last.
all right, so I'm gonna zero that out. I wanna
that?
thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
1,120.
So what would the number be now? Selectmen
Sorry,
expense.
1,400 deduction. Yeah, I just marked it 0. Because no one's taking it.
And that's all that's on for selectmen expense?
Excuse me?
Is there anything else under?
Mark it 0.
Yeah, all the office
The
supplies and
stipends.
stuff fall into that.
Yeah.
It just-
No one's taking that.
That's the
Yep.
big bite.
Stipend, she just got stipend. So,
Yeah, but what's the bottom number now?
11,120?
Okay.
Okay, so it's like selectmen, info technology. I highlighted that because
You thought you could take
no,
something
I
out?
found an error on the sheet. It was like $40 less. It should have been something happened on that. Okay, so it looks like maybe Adams modified this. 127,500. I'll have to follow up with him. He's actually coming to the selectmen's meeting Monday. So I'm meeting with him as well tomorrow, so I can follow up with him on his changes.
Okay, good.
Okay, public safety building is still, that's just an estimate, 11,650. Tony Mobilio, who's our, he does the municipal janitor service, came in with a list of goods that, for cost and how to get started over that building, so I wanna thank him for his time on that, but still an estimate. I think it's gonna be pretty spot on, that, but, maybe we can pinch and squeeze some money that way, but it's hard to know until the building's up and running for a year. I highlighted sewer, I think that there was an increase in sludge in that, $70,000, I think, for sludge.
I thought they would have a decrease in sludge,
I
because
thought-
they signed a new contract.
Well, we're under contract and the contract ends next year for sludge
They're gonna take it
disposal.
out of this,
Can
Yeah.
you, ask the sewer department what they estimate their sludge tonnage this year coming up compared to last year? Please. That seems like a heck of a lot of jump.
Yeah, I'm
I
not,
had a note in here actually about that, like 7,500 per ton. So if you do the math on that line item, it might give you the estimated tons this year, that he's
they
estimated for
went up.
next year.
How much did they go up on that?
70,000.
70,000. That's about 70,000 ton more a year. If I recall, that contract was, for like 3 years.
Oh, I'm sorry, based
And
on
then on that,
7,500
after
a
3
month.
years, you could sign up for a couple more, but I think the rate increase was only like $1 a ton. That's what I'm saying. That
I-
means if it went up 70,000,
I'm sorry, I said that
Went
wrong.
from 72
It
to
went up
90.
20,000,
so it up,
18,000.
so that means 20 ton. That's a lot.
Well, I also misstated. I apologize. He was estimating 7,500 a month to get to the
7,500 tons?
90,000. $7,500
Oh.
a
Can we
month.
just find out the tonnage of
So
last year?
you're right, I don't know
Yeah.
the differences in the
Yep.
The
tonnage.
Yeah, I
estimate
took a
this
note.
year, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that was the only,
I think it may also apply to the fact that he's gotta have solid waste solutions to get rid of it, right? Is that different?
Yeah, but
no,
that's
that's
under
who's been under
contract.
contract.
Oh, they did the
Ted
entire
Evans
year
gonna
last
be
year?
using the bathroom, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I think
What?
we
I'm just
have
gonna
one
use the
more
bathroom.
year
Oh, yeah,
left on
sure.
that contract, and then I think that contract can extend
Oh,
out
my.
for 2 single years after that, before you have to renew.
Okay.
Like it's allowing for 2 extensions of 1 year each extension, I believe.
Okay.
I'd have to double check that.
So we stopped using our local landfill
We,
before last year began. It wasn't part of last year's budget.
it was.
Using the local landfill before we went to solid waste
No,
solutions?
using solid waste solutions was part of last year's budget. No, not last, this year, right now
The
that we're.
2000, okay.
Yeah.
FY
I say last
17
year too, because we're
was
talking the new
all
one,
solid
but-
waste solutions.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Now,
okay. I was working on, with sewer, the, salaries too, double checking classification, I was going through them. And there seem to be, these percentages are not, don't look at those percentages, because those are last year's to their request number, not to what I plugged in. So I plugged in what I calculated, for everybody's, when they're due. And since we're here talking with you guys here, since you're in union negotiations right now, something to keep in mind with both of those unions is the fact that we're in the red. You know,
yeah.
contractual increases for your unions.
Right.
I mean, I support COLA increases, because that's what it kind of comes down to. But I don't see that you're gonna be able to give that to your non-union employees. Not that that has any weight one way or the other. However, so the numbers I changed to show no increase.
Yours just strictly classification plan.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody
Wait.
understands that.
Wait.
Because the increase is unknown at this time, because they're still in negotiations.
You talking COLA?
COLA with the union's in negotiation right now.
Yeah.
So I was just letting selectmen know to keep that in mind in their negotiations, that we're looking at a red deficit. And that if, you know, what I changed the budgets when I went to the comp class plan versus step increases, so it reflects no increase.
Unless they do a step raise.
Unless they do a step raise at this point. However, if the union, you guys negotiate some sort of increase for year 1, 2, 3, whatever, I'll change those out to whatever that changes to at that time. But I thought for planning purpose, I would just not level fund, but level fund with a classification if there. Because these did have increases, as you can see, 2, 5, 10%, 4% plugged in. So,
I hear you. I might suggest, not to say we're even gonna end up here, but it might look better when you're really working through your budget that you put a minimum of a 1% COLA plus those steps. And then when the negotiation's done, if it ends up being 0, it looks like you got more room to work with rather than the other way around. And then the negotiation gets pushed to a 1% increase and now we gotta find more money. Do you follow what I'm saying? Because you're still at a review level. It'd be nicer to have more space to work with in a month than less.
I was just looking at it from the perspective that they wanted all the budgets to come in level funded except for classification step increases.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
how I reviewed it.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I see your
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
I just meant if you're looking at places where hopefully you can find money in a month,
No.
I would look at
we
it as
don't-
if you're
we
gonna
don't
have
need
to
to
do
pad
some type of COLA, and then hopefully you don't.
Yeah.
Years past, what I think the way we operated was we went through our budget and, you know, we realized we're in a kind of a bad spot because we have union and non-union. And the union pretty much gets a raise every year.
Yeah.
And we didn't think it was fair to our non-union employees. So every year when we could afford it, we would try to give them a COLA.
Yeah.
But there's many years that you can't afford it.
Right.
And I think this is leaning towards,
That-
Okay.
And I agree. And it being a negotiation year, I think we should consider that also.
Yeah, and I
That's
think,
been on my mind.
to
just,
follow that classification plan. I think if you didn't follow it, you're really gonna open up a can of worms.
yeah,
I'm sure the labor attorney would back us on that decision.
yeah. And that, just for a point of information, if we were to do COLA for all non-union employees, we would look at roughly, don't quote me on the number, say $26,000.
I got you.
That would be a 2% COLA for all non-union. That's the kind of cost, if you think about that.
50,000% for the people that were not negotiating.
Correct. Which includes all the firefighters, EMS, too. Okay, so sewer, that's what I came up with. So I'm gonna keep it yellow until we figure out, get the sludge number. Treasurer, health and dental, that came in lower. I do have a question out to Nancy. I think I included everybody today on my email to her. She made some changes on that budget, just to firm that up with me, that she made those changes. And that those, either they're not estimates at this point, I need to know if they're still estimates or if they're
Real
a
deal.
more firm number. So I did change it to blue because I changed it according to what that budget said. But I made a note to myself. The maturing debt and interest, Jean, when we went through the sheets, we found a couple corrections. That's why this budget is changed to the 518. Treasurer collector, that is highlighted because there were also comp classification increases in there, which I made the changes on those. And question to throw out to everybody. I know Nancy's very diligent on working on the tax lien and all this. She was looking in her budget, there was $50,000 for that tax lien. I don't know if that's something, I posed the question to her if the revenue would be coming in this year from that, and I don't think I got a response from her on that, but I'm not sure if this is something we should think about putting off till special town meeting.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I've been
think so.
thinking. Take the 50,000.
that was one of the things
Take
that
the
I
50
thought.
out and see what happens
Yeah,
when it comes to fall.
yeah,
Because there's no, at least what I could see, no revenue potential from that. Certainly in that year,
it's a lot of money.
yeah.
Okay,
So did you take the 50
I
out?
didn't yet, cause I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure I talked to you guys.
Well, yeah, go through that.
So that 197 includes that 50?
Correct. So that would reduce, okay, I'll make that change.
Yeah,
I shared this with you guys, so you can view it. So when I start making the changes after this meeting, you can keep up with me. Veterans, I have him highlighted because Tony is so great, that he will allow us to cut his budget out and fund it at special later.
Mhm.
I did not do that yet, so I highlighted just to
Yeah,
keep it out there.
there was what, 20,000 possible, or?
We could probably take 20,000 out of there, because he increased up that, so I asked him if we level funded him. He said that would be fine. And since we're in public and Tony's not here, I just want to congratulate him on his recent retirement from National Grid as well.
Good for him.
Probably even smiles in his sleep.
Yeah, he was in this week, he's, good for him. Okay, so water department, I don't know what I have a note there for, but, the water department salaries, again, I double checked those and put the figures onto the right, which would be level funded except for contractual,
Oh, okay.
step increases.
How are those, excuse me, how are them negotiations going with our union employees, Charlie?
They're going fairly well. We've had trouble coming up with, nothing to do directly with the board, scheduling between the two negotiators. But
Yeah.
it will be, I don't see much of a problem.
Our labor council was tied up this month on
He
a
tied up,
case.
and then theirs has been tied up.
Mhm.
Yeah, if I have to, I'll sit down, and I've done them before myself, so I sit down and do them myself.
Okay,
Yeah, it'll be done, and they've been told it has to be done, so.
Yeah, just to get us a little bit more solid figures on
Well,
salary.
we gotta have it done anyway by July 1st.
Yeah, well, they could do it retroactive.
Yeah, so we'll have it, it'll be.
I think the only thing that kind of caught my eye was the water pumping account, which I think is electricity driven. And I think I did look at all the electricity used for this year to see what it was, and we can double check it, but I think they had it.
Certainly, the energy cost isn't going up 33%, so there's a hell of a lot more pumping going on.
Well, yeah, I think because they had one well closed off, right? So
That could be it,
They may
yeah.
be doing more pumping, I don't know. How does that
Yeah, but
work?
it doesn't matter, you got wells, whether you have one well or 3 wells or 5 wells.
You run them all
If
the
you need a
same.
million gallons of water, you gotta pump a million gallons of water,
Yeah.
whether you get it out of one spot, 2 spots, 3 spots.
Right.
yeah.
I just,
I was
It could also be
curious,
maintenance on the equipment.
yeah.
well, it says
That's for
electricity.
pumping.
Well, that's what I said, pumping. Could be maintenance on the pumps.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure, I
So it
wasn't
could be a
here,
combination.
I
I'm just-
wasn't here when Jason
Yeah.
Jason
presented these
said
budgets, so I'm not
actual.
sure.
You said that was actual
Yeah.
figures. But I was just a little confused was the electricity for the pumping went up that much for the water, but in the other 2 DPW budget sheets, the electricity stayed the same in all the buildings in the sewer. And the sewer is probably the second largest.
Electric user, yeah, they're
Right.
one of our major users.
And I didn't know if that had something to do with those solar panels, if they're up and running, or I didn't know how that worked.
I don't know
But
if those are online yet.
it just kind of, you know what I'm saying, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
You're going up 33% on there. You know, the sewer department uses a lot of electricity too, and their budget stayed the same.
When you do that and you set up like a net metering agreement, normally with National Grid, you'll assign the revenues to a particular electrical account, or you can share it with accounts. So if, that would be up to, kind of be up to the town.
We did decide that a while ago, but we
Did we
haven't seen
decide
it.
to apply it to the town barn account?
No, I think sewer, water, and some of the major, like Henry Woods Building's a major user, senior center, that type of thing. But we haven't seen any net meter credits yet still.
You won't until we actually, what we should receive is, once the installer finishes the install, they go through commissioning and a witness test with National Grid. The National Grid will send an email saying you are authorized to connect and become a distributed generation facility. Which means at that moment, you can now start applying your credits
Well,
to the accounts. But until you receive that from National Grid, they're saying we still haven't verified the test is complete and everything's ready to go. Because I'm not necessarily really involved with this particular project, I don't know where they're at in that schedule.
okay.
Normally you get everything ready and then you tell National Grid I'm ready, and then National Grid looks at everybody that said I'm ready and starts scheduling you in their line. So it might be that we're in the queue to be checked, they just don't have somebody to come out and do the check yet. And once they're done with that, then they'll send you the email saying, you're authorized to interconnect, and then we have to send that to DOER to say that, okay, we're ready for SREX, and start accounting that. Somebody's gotta register on the PTS and NEPOOL, so that we can say we get our SREX for that. I don't know how many solar facilities the town owns yet, or do we own
That's
any?
the only one.
Okay, so this would be our first walk?
Mhm.
Okay, so someone will eventually, whether it's Shannon, however Jason or the DPW does it, or if we'll do it through the admin building, we'll have to kind of set up an access account to PTS and to NEPOOL to kind of say, this is who we are, and these are our SREX, solar renewable energy credits. And then every quarter, you get an update of how many credits you have. And at the end, and you can hold it each quarter or you can sell it, but they usually say, SRECs are guaranteed a minimum sale purchase. That's part of the program. So for every credit you receive, you'll get a baseline number. But if you go to auction, you can make more. But usually if you try to sell it early, everybody knows you're not gonna make the minimum. So most people wait to the very end, and then the big businesses all come in and say, I'll buy yours, I'll buy yours, I'll buy yours for the minimum. And then it just cleans up and you make generally the minimum, unless you're really good and you really know the industry. And then you're, you know, it's like being a stockbroker at that point. So it's usually just wait to the end, you get your money. But we've got to be registered
So I
to
think-
have that happen.
It would be my suggestion that the town administrator be that contact, because in the event that we put on more town buildings, they wouldn't have to be the overseers of all the rest of that, is what I'm thinking. Because obviously you would have one contact
And
to
the town
handle that.
made the investment on that, right? It wasn't an enterprise investment for the solar? That was a town approved article?
We did that, yeah.
Okay.
But I was mistaken when I was telling you about the credits. I wasn't talking about the solar. Prior to that, we had entered into a net metering agreement with a solar location. Do you remember where that was? We did that like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
I think it was Bellrica, Natick, Framingham.
We went through a bunch of them, they all fell through.
Yeah, it kept falling through, but we were supposed to
It may
be
the
with.
Palmer one now?
No, it was
No.
somewhere down that way. And we were supposed to start seeing credits, I think it was February. We haven't seen them yet, so Phil did follow up on that to say
Okay.
what's going on with that. But that's the one that I was talking about, that we designated our higher users
So you're
with that.
right. Someone needs to know what account you assigned to that.
Yeah, we have that
Because if for some
already.
reason, whatever agreement you have has covered most of your usage in those buildings, you don't necessarily want to assign your solar to the same account if you have another account that's a bigger energy
Okay.
user.
So that might be another good reason why the town administrator should do that.
Yeah, because you have a better understanding of all the
Correct.
different accounts and what's happening, so
So
Okay.
that
you
makes
see
sense.
my question though here on that? You got the water pumping at 33% increase. The sewer department, they pump, the sewer, those pumps are running, there's what, 3 pumping stations or 4? And on top of that, the electricity at the plant, you know,
Yeah.
the agitators, you know, the clarifiers, you know, and their electricity level funded.
The thing is, we have not heard about any benefit to a solar contract, and we see one increase in the rate. So clearly,
Just doesn't make
something's
Oh,
funny.
okay, all right.
Okay, and so, to me, in 2018, whatever happens, it ought to be fixed by then and online, and we don't see any benefit, so I don't know who we should ask, but probably the one we start with is the one that just went up 33%,
Right.
get a better, clearer look
Sure.
at that.
And like I said, I get a feeling that pump line item is a lot of equipment replacement
Pumps itself.
Yeah,
and maintenance. Because I have heard several times from people that are like,
things are
the
happening.
equipment's a mess. They feel like they're just waiting for it to blow up and then we're living on one well till they rebuild it. So I don't know if that's completely accurate.
I think we
I
can
haven't
look
been
into
out there
it,
looking, I'm just saying, that's my understanding.
but
So,
we should look
it's a
into
good
that. If
question.
Yeah,
that's
What
it,
is-
then
I
we'll have
wasn't
it.
here when he
You
came
guys
in and
have-
presented the budget, so.
You have a DPW meeting next week, you said?
Monday.
Monday we do.
Maybe you could ask when you're there, and see the water commissioners will be in presence with you,
Yeah, I don't mind.
or
asking
Jason,
that.
or whoever's there.
Yeah.
If we could just kind of come up, because it just seems kind of strange, like I said. Sewer
one does
stayed,
not?
sewer stayed the same, and the other one went up 33%.
It's a good question. I mean, I don't know the difference between that and, we were just talking that they're almost at break even with their revenues and expenses, right?
Water is,
So they might just be trying to manage that so that they can keep from having to do a major capital investment by throwing a little more on that to upgrade their
Yeah,
equipment. But I'll ask,
okay,
Yeah.
because I don't want to make up the answer for them, you're right, I don't, so.
Just
we'll ask.
curious.
okay, so, everybody good?
yeah,
Assessor article, I just highlighted that yellow, that is what Eileen's looking at, that's coming through, so I did double check that with her.
Now, we do that every year?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they used to have it in their budget, if you can recall,
Yeah,
and it used to carry over, and
Right.
Jean said we shouldn't be
Yeah.
carrying it over that way. It should be an article, because articles can carry over if
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
excess, so. That's what that is. The Gatsby 45 is an audit that we have done, is that how to explain that?
Yeah, it's a company that comes in and looks at your actuaries for your benefits,
Right.
retirees. and
So
all
I
that.
guess I sent an email to Nancy as well, asking her, we were thinking it might not be an annual audit for this, it might be triannual, every 3 years or whatever.
yeah. I
So
think
just
it's every
finding out
year.
if it's not due, or do we need to fund this still?
Mm.
That's all.
No,
Yeah.
that was a total cost, it was under $5,000.
Right, right.
I wanna say it
Annual,
needs,
I think it's,
Okay, so
3 years or something,
Yeah.
2 years.
OPEB, we all remember the OPEB conversation. So the state is changing the laws, like Nancy explained to you guys, and
Mhm.
part of it is you have to establish a trust fund, and you have to put finances into that. So I did go back and look, in 2010, we did vote at town meeting to establish such fund. However, we never put any monies in it. Nancy had said she had met with a financial advisor, and the financial advisor advised $25,000 this year, 30, 35, 40, going forward. Every year, just increase 5.
I thought it was 25,000 this year and then 5,000 each year thereafter. And the
Additional.
return starts building it. So the
Well,
new balance is 30, the new balance is 35.
No, it would be 25 this year, 30,000 next year, 35, 40, like that. It grows in $5,000 increments plus the last year. So, regardless,
we're putting 5,000.
I think
Yeah,
we make a good faith effort
yeah,
and do this. And
Mhm.
if we can, with free cash or what have you, supplement that then, we look at it then. But I think to make what the state mandate is saying, that we have to have a fund established and put money into it, we do that.
This state mandate, that's not state funding.
Another one. So we changed the ambulance like Jean had already explained to us, that's why
Mhm.
that's blue. Again, water, we changed that, and there's your number at the bottom.
$500,000 short.
So, we're not done yet, we have to go back up to police.
Holy
yeah. So we need to do something.
I met with the chief today, and I straightened out his salaries. He didn't show for the promotions, the officers were listed not as the promotions occurred. So we fixed all that up here. And so, something else that the chief reminded me of today was that we owe him $5,000. If you can recall, our budget was budgeted for 72,000
Mhm.
or 74,000, it's not $5,000 exactly, but you guys contracted him for 79,000. There was the shortfall of that difference, we have to
Okay.
keep that in mind, but I did tell him,
4,000.
could be interdepartmental, we'll look at it. If not, it'll have to be an article.
Yeah,
So I
the,
penciled that into my
Contract
folder.
says based on town appropriation or something like that.
So I
Because we knew
did,
we couldn't make the commitment at the time.
I did throw something in my folder for annual town meeting for that, just so you know.
Okay.
So it's received before today.
As an article?
If we can't interdepartmental it, it will have to be an article.
Okay.
There's no other way to fund it.
Can't just put it in the budget for a 1-year line item budget?
Where do we get the money from?
Where's the money come from?
We don't have
What
it.
line item?
No, you would add a line item just saying covers that 1-year payment. So
But
the
it's-
budget would
For
look.
next year?
It's last year's money though.
This is- Yeah,
No,
this is
you
for this
can't.
fiscal year.
Yeah, it's this
Well, that's
fiscal
why I'm
year's
asking.
money.
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's why it
They
would have
can't.
to either be interdepartmental, so it's in the police budget, there's excess and they're able to move it back and forth, or it would have to become an article, right?
Right.
Okay.
So
So
then.
articles are necessary to address prior year.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, that was similar to what you were talking about, Gene, on that invoice question.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so Chief Saborin, you can see the increase here. Staff Sergeants Brown, Sergeant Ricos, their changes were noted here. And you see decreases on the right, but that's false because the people that held the position before them may have been making more in those sergeants' positions. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Chris, no, so everybody is up to date here. He is in the process of filling a vacant patrolman's position.
What is the
And,
overtime question? 250?
okay,
Maybe we
we can
can't
talk
have
about
that.
that, your new one here. So in the past, this particular line was budgeted for $23,000. It would run way over. So every year historically, at town meeting, we would have this overage in that account, and we would have to find the money, so it was kind of not budgeted. So now he's trying to correct the budgeting here, and he, looking at what the overages were, came up with this $83,000 number for overtime. Does that make sense?
It does. Is
Okay.
that filling those two patrolmen or not?
The overtime is straight overtime.
What the problem
Why would
was,
you do
might help you understand a little bit, was there was never really many part-timers. So when anybody called in sick, took a vacation, a full-timer would take the shift. So you'd be paying a full-timer like $40-something an hour for the overtime rate. But I think that should go down because he just promoted, was it 3 or 4 part-timers, Charlie?
I think
Yeah.
three, we did 3.
And I think he was talking to maybe more in the future,
Mm-hmm.
because it makes more sense, you know, to be paying somebody $15 an hour instead of 40. So, but he's, you know, I can see his reasoning. He's looked in the years past, and it's every year it's anywhere from $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 we have to come up with at the end of the year because of the overtime.
It was 53 last year.
Right.
So I wasn't involved in it last year, so see, it was
Yeah.
53, so he's looking at it realistically, saying, wow, you guys are only putting in 20,000 for overtime, we're spending 60 or 50.
Mhm.
So he kind of make that adjustment, but like I said, I don't know, I think them part-timers should be taking some of that overtime off of there. I would think, I would hope. I thought that's what they were there to fill shifts. I mean, you know, last year was really, really strenuous. They had a lot of people out.
Didn't they cut the part-timers at one point, one year, to cut that overtime somehow, but
No.
it didn't.
No, he cut them, and it made it worse,
Yeah,
because you were giving all the overtime to full-timers, who were making
Because they
40-something an hour.
were saying that it
Didn't
wouldn't
need
There
them.
will be overtime.
Right.
There will be, because like, say an officer is on until 8:30 right now, and they do an arrest at 8 o'clock.
Right.
Well, now they're stuck. Yeah, so you're gonna still have overtime, you're gonna have people that are out, and you're not gonna always be able to look at this and say, yeah, it's an ideal, and we're gonna be able to fill it. You're gonna have those
You're
gaps.
gonna have
still.
some overtime, but you should be doing away with a lot,
yeah.
because the last 2 or 3 years, it's been huge amounts.
Mhm.
Like I said, that's the reason.
Yeah, because that's a
Yeah.
big,
So we got the police chief coming back in anyway, she said, right?
Yeah, next week.
So Fay, what he shows there is he doesn't hire the last guy.
The
There's
numbers
still
in there, right?
this vacant, there is still one vacant, but he's in the process of filling this vacant. So there's 2 vacancies,
Both full-time?
yes. So he's,
But he's
So are there any
budgeting as if he
part-time?
won't
No.
fill the 6th.
correct.
Right, so it looks like, right.
But the 6th, I don't think has been filled for
No.
a long time, I don't think.
But he's,
Mm.
See, because that also contributes to
got
the
6
overtime, not
patrolmen
having the
listed.
6 full-time patrolmen.
Well, he's gonna have 8.
but this might be
Right.
different than what's, no.
Say what?
No, you've got 8.
Yes, I changed it
He's-
But
today
like
with
you
the.
said,
Okay,
somebody
he-
takes a vacation day or a vacation week, now you got 7. The 8
So he
only
took out
fill
The
Monday through
6.
Friday, all your shifts.
Now,
You
the-
still gotta fill your weekend
Yeah.
completely with part-timers without that 6.
No, they don't
Patrolman
operate like
6,
that.
he doesn't
They do
have
4 and
anything.
2 and it changes.
I know, I'm just talking total hours. 8 times 40 is 120 hours. 5 times 24 comes to the same number. So you've still got 48 hours of time you will always have to fill
Well, you'll have 9 with police
with just
chief.
part-timers, assuming nobody takes a vacation day. So if you have a 6th patrolman,
9. You'll
you
have
help
nine.
with your overtime better because you will have plenty of vacation time and weekends that you're not filling.
You'll have 9 including the chief.
9 officers, sure.
Yeah, including the chief.
Do they always have, do you know how much they always?
So I was just
Is there
thinking it
always
out,
2
that's all.
on All the time? And
Not
What?
all the
two-
time.
Is there always at least 2 on? all the
No, I
time,
think
or-
there's times, maybe it's changed now, but there was a time that they had not 2 all the time.
Pretty much.
So it could
Pretty
be-
much,
But I have to
yeah.
print that sheet out, so it's- So that 6th patrolman has been taken off of there?
It,
was
he
9.
was not requesting anything on there.
Okay.
See that 0?
Yeah. Because the original one had it in there. I didn't
Yeah,
print
it
a
was
new
all
one
in-
today,
Okay.
so.
That's.
So what's your bottom number
Yeah, what's
is
your
what
number
you've got
there?
on here?
667-85272.
So that's different than we had in the sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I updated the sheet.
We have 725.
Because there's also police administration that gets added into that. That's a total police budget, so.
Oh, that's for everything.
Oh, okay.
1,000 on that.
Yeah, that's the
Puts you right at
total.
that 720 number.
725-254, yeah. Because it's 51,000 in administration and 67,000 in salary. So it looks like there's an increase of roughly 100 and something thousand dollars in salaries from last year.
Do they have revenue or no? They don't have-
No.
They actually do.
Yeah.
I mean, they write tickets, but the state gets a portion of it, we get a portion of it. What else is there?
License to carry.
License to carry, it's minimal, there's not any major revenue.
So if we look at the budgeted this year, okay, which included, no, which did not include, included dispatch. 2017 police budget includes dispatch.
Correct.
Okay, what's that number?
Last year, or currently, is 777,074, included dispatch.
Okay, so you add 725 plus another 150. That's a big delta.
Yeah, it's in the salaries.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you guys,
What are you? No, just listen.
I mean, it's
the
$200,000.
requester,
It's
the
200,
requester pays.
$200,000.
And they pay it like to the police officer, like he's a
No, they
contract?
pay it to the town.
They pay to the town. Okay.
Increase.
Police car.
And we used to expect 50,000. We would expect, last year, we had 50,000 on top of the budget of 776 plus 50. So now, the 777 goes to 970.
state law, I don't know.
What's that?
They charge people for arresting them?
No. Could you say that again, Ted?
It wouldn't get paid.
I know.
Okay.
Can they
Faye,
sell
what's,
the drug?
what's that number you just had on your sheet there? Okay, what's the top of that
The
column?
overtime cost is
776,
what's
that's 2000
thrown it
what?
over.
17
Six-
That
The
was the
overtime
cost
request
is
in
really
17.
actual.
That was 2017
Yeah.
request.
Oh.
And then we had actual.
So you don't have
Do
the,
the middle column is actual, Ted. That's what it
No, but
is.
what
And
I'm
then
saying is,
career
16,
incentive.
do you
The
wanna
year-
know?
the year before, the police budget had dispatch and police,
Okay, hold on,
okay? But it didn't have the kicker in June.
the
And the
kicker.
kicker in June was
Is that
$50,000,
Kick a rubber.
okay?
Yeah.
I
So-
don't know.
Here is, this line right here is all the police budgets.
So that's 677 plus 50 would have been that year's cost for the police and dispatch.
This, all the way through to, that this one right here included dispatch. No, I'm sorry.
Before.
No, wait, last year, this year that we're in right now included dispatch. It was not separated out.
Oh, they didn't.
But not the dispatch overrun, right? That just includes your
Just
final
budget.
approved,
Did
But-
that include?
Yeah, what was the overrun,
about
20,000?
50,000.
Oh,
And Faye,
Well,
did that,
let me take that back. Maybe you're right.
no.
I might get my numbers confused.
I could be
Faye, did
confused.
that not 777, did that include the extra 50-something thousand you had to?
No.
appropriate?
No,
No.
no, that, the kicker's not in there.
780.
So you have to add 50 to that,
Yep,
okay? So now the
830,
725, the
rough
725 becomes 978. So I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
about a big,
Wow.
see, the kicker now is out in the open. It used to be under the table till June, and then it'd be surprise out under the table and it would come out, okay? But the problem was when that happened, you never attributed it to the police budget, but it really was there. Now, it's on the table now. So the question now will be, when it gets on the table,
Well, your overtime account's gone up 60,000.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, and you have, the deputy chief that has a
Yeah.
20,000
Right.
and maybe the new officer. I think that would be your total,
Mm.
your increases right
Mm.
there.
yeah.
And then career incentive doubled.
That's because the police chief has his masters.
What is career
It's the
incentive?
old Quinn bill.
Quinn,
Remember we had Quinn bill for years and
Yeah.
the state gave us,
unfunded mandate.
it was another unfunded.
Is that paying for courses or no? Am I thinking of something
No.
else?
No, this is paying for them,
Bonus.
for them having
okay.
And when did,
degrees.
when did the town vote to
Okay.
reinstate that?
Educational level.
Like being in the
Which is-
military.
Sure,
Because the town voted to take the Quinn bill out at town meeting.
yes.
But it has to be enacted by law, and it wasn't.
It still hasn't. They
So
haven't
that's
accepted
still
that stuff.
floating out there, that,
That's not gonna change, so
That
as I
could-
see it politically, it will not change.
that Quinn bill is there forever.
It's there, so
So
But
the town doesn't have
we don't have any, you know, it's there.
any say over it.
You can, it's a home rule thing and they have to adopt it, and my guess is they probably will not adopt it.
But we,
If you want to, you know, if you look at it, you'll see why. It's not
the
us,
union,
it's
the
nothing to do
union
with
agreed to
Barry.
get rid of the Quinn bill as well,
This
so
is
it's,
heavy duty
we're,
politics there.
we're not breaking any laws. This is fine the way it is.
No, well, you just said we're paying them incentives for their education, so that, when did that come back about? You said the union agreed to do away with it too.
Well, we did it last year, we funded it last year.
It's part of the negotiation.
Yeah,
So you brought
Yeah.
it back.
And, no, it was there in the last contract.
Because it was in the last contract.
Well, can't
It
we
was
take
like
it out of the next?
1,500, 2,000, 2,500, or 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, depending on your levels of education.
Can't we take it out of the
Mhm.
next one?
And so it was in the last
Negotiate it
contract,
out.
Negotiating.
and it's on the table being discussed with the negotiations now.
Can you negotiate out?
You can
Well,
do
it's
anything if
it's
you
in
can do it.
negotiation. I mean, it is something we can look at, but
With the state of the budget, show them we're $500,000 short.
Well, look at the last
You
year
know.
budget for the year before.
Yeah,
that
the year
year.
before
See
right
if the
now.
Quinn bill's in there. They did away with it, and the officers and the union agreed to not have that in there. That's why I'm confused when you say it was in the
No, it
old
was still here.
contract.
16, it was.
It might have been in there, but they weren't taking any,
No, there was money, 3,500.
and they
You only
took
had one, I think, employee that earned it.
3,500
Last June.
then. The last June?
No. Okay, whatever, move on.
Well,
So our final thing is tonight, we're $500,000 in the red.
Mhm.
A lot of money to make up.
I think it can be made up
so,
fairly easily.
How was that, Joe?
What are your
How is that?
ideas,
Just
Charlie?
look at what has been stated, pass-through monies coming back from the schools. I have the deficit pegged right now at approximately $329,000.
Really? Really?
And I know you don't think I know anything.
Well, no,
Brian,
I'd like
but
to see the numbers.
Just looking, you wanna see them?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just looking at the historical figures
Right.
and what we have, that's what I figured. And I can tell you how I got them. I said, the school had indicated a while back, and then they made a concession on the capital improvement plan. I figured there's $64,500 coming off. I figured there'd probably be conservatively 150 on free cash, 50 on more cherry sheet money coming into the school. And because the legislature has indicated that. Now, the next question we have to ask, is that traditionally, like they've done in the past, pass-through money? Or is it coming comes to us and then to, I don't know. But I figured that's a very, very conservative figure. And then there's some other things, just a few other odds and ends, and it comes up to $329,872,000 in the hole. And that works out to 2.499%.
So what do we do with that? How do we come up with that?
Well, right now, we'll just be waiting and seeing, and, we've got some flexibility in some of these line items as they work themselves through. And there may be more coming in, and it may be off, but looking at what they did last week at the school, after we had the meeting, my figures look pretty close. They're very, very conservative based upon what I know to be historical records. And you have to look at it that way. And we've got another thing that we didn't have last year. We paid about $100,000 in severance packages, lawyers' fees for things. That money we will not incur, so that should help in the long run.
Now, Charlie,
It's not on the budget.
No,
That's-
that's budget,
Can't
right,
deduct that.
right.
you mentioned in your figures, and I appreciate your help, because we
Right.
asked for help from you guys,
Right.
that free cash number. You plan on taking that free cash and plugging it into the existing budget?
Well, you can't carry it, right?
No,
Use it by June
You
30th.
can't carry it, so it will have to
So that'd
be
be-
used somehow, whether it's against an article or it's against the line.
I think it would go against the
Somewhere
snow
it's
and
gotta be
ice.
used, you can't
Yeah.
carry it into the next year. And I said 150 based upon, I looked at what we've had historically, this is pretty low, actually.
Okay, so then, and then the
What would you
following,
estimate, Gene?
this coming fall,
Yeah.
2017 free cash, then we could use that for
Yeah.
purchases or.
Yeah, we
capital.
can't
Yeah.
carry, I just figured that, and, because we didn't have, as I recall, we didn't have that figure in there.
We do not.
No.
No.
So, and I figured 150, if you look historically over the years what we've had, then I'm gonna guess that our figure will be lower than what it's been anyway. But I thought that was a pretty real conservative figure, so we may be higher than that. We may be lower, I mean, I could be, these are just estimates based upon, I take percentages from previous years and then factor them through. Holding, it's econometrics, it's holding certain things constant and then using a factoring number.
I got a question for you, Charlie. As the chairman of the board, have you people been in contact? I know you can't give out much information with the DA's office on the status of that court case that we're pending, because if that goes through, I
Yeah,
do believe she was
as far as I
bonded
know,
for
it's
100.
still there. I haven't been inquiring. I know Heather was. We can't really delve
You
in.
can call, you can have
Ask where they
Phyllis,
are.
Phil,
And
yeah,
every time
exactly.
that they called, it's been, well, we're still working on it. And-
Because I think she was bonded for like $150,000.
Yeah, I have
And
no,
it-
I don't think you can count
And
on
if it,
the
well,
rate we're going.
well, something should be happening pretty soon, and
I would
that's
think so.
money.
Yeah.
I
Another,
would think if it's gonna happen, it's gonna
another
happen.
question that I, concerning that is, if it does come to that, you know, it goes to trial and say it's proven guilty or something, the insurance company, I do believe at the time, told us that we could only get the $150,000 because she was bonded for that year. But the problems arose over a course of 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So I would think it would be very, in the town's best interest to get some kind of attorney and to pursue it, saying, yeah, okay, she did it on this year,
Mhm.
and we were bonded for so much that year, but this year, same thing, bonded, this year, that could add up to a pretty good hunk of
Yeah,
change.
you know, I actually, we're kind of not really germane to this,
Each year is a
but
separate bond, so
I
each
had-
year may have a separate
I've
payout.
given some thought about how that money, I don't even know if there's constraints on how that money's
I don't know
supposed to be
neither,
allocated.
Charlie.
I don't know, it's an
curious.
issue I've never dealt with before, so I
also.
don't know.
I was just curious if you guys
Yeah.
have reached out to them and
I've been-
found any status
You know,
about it.
we've tried to be pretty careful, because you can't, well, you know, you can't dabble into a
Right.
criminal thing, I mean, I don't wanna be down there.
No, but you can ask the VA for where they stand.
Yeah, I know.
I can tell you that.
I know full well, but
They-
that's the way I was figuring it, so, you know, my philosophy, you know, that don't panic about the stuff until you really have to panic, but
Well, I'm not panicking.
I think that we have,
No, I think we're
you know,
pretty
we
good.
have a little more latitude than what,
No, we've been pretty lenient on, you
Yeah,
know, just
I know,
kind of going
I know.
with the
I'm not-
flow and
I'm not
trying to
complaining,
pick them apart.
I'm not, I respect what everybody.
I got a couple of questions, Faye. Have you heard anything from animal control? Have you got a number on that?
I think I plugged that in.
Did you?
Phil sent an email, right, at the next of 300 something? 333 or $313 or some weird. When we brought in the
See, it's the
Braintree,
same
as last
11,000?
year.
Yeah, yeah.
11,000?
And then they were looking to add 2 more
Give it
towns,
to him.
but
I'm gonna highlight that one.
got a little
Yeah,
crazy on that.
that was
So,
one.
Couldn't keep up.
And then,
They want to add 2 more towns to that?
One more, I think.
They already presented New Braintree, and then they said something like Sterling and West Boylston or something they're looking to reach out to. And I was getting confused now, it's like,
Gotta hire 4 people in.
how far are you going, and how much do our
Well, she
costs
has
increase versus
assistants.
our
Yes.
expenses not going down?
Yeah.
But Rutland owns it. We don't really have a say in who else gets to come in, as far as I understand. Maybe we do, but,
I don't think so.
well, we have to say that, well, thank you very much, and
yep,
back out. But I don't know if we have a say of, please stop bringing people in, because you're just raising costs that we have no control over, and
the other number, the less allowance for abatements and expenditures, can that change? Or does, because
No.
we've just carried across
We
the same
carry that
number?
right now until Eileen wasn't prepared to give me a different number yet.
Okay, but that could change,
Historically, it's around there, but yeah.
yeah.
It could.
Okay. Those were the only two that
So, next week, we've got the police chief coming in and the school, Monty Tech.
Next week is the school consolidation meeting too, so I will be,
Oh,
I have to go to that.
Oh,
I see they,
well, that's
It's
the
last
10th.
one, yeah.
Yeah,
took
Is
this
it on a
lot of
Wednesday
Free
night?
space up there.
I
from what I read in the paper.
that Bobbin meeting.
What?
It's on a
It's
Wednesday
the last
night?
consolidation
yeah, it's,
meeting on next Wednesday.
Because I wrote it down, but I didn't
they're coming again.
click.
Collins
Yeah.
is coming again,
Collins, yeah,
right?
it's like-
Yeah.
Does that start?
7,
Okay.
oh, maybe 6, I don't know.
I'm not sure, I'm just asking.
Because it started at 6 the last
I know,
time.
yeah, that's why I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Anybody have any other look-ats?
I want to thank Charlie for going through that,
Yeah.
coming up
Thank
with them
you.
Yeah.
numbers, Charlie.
Your-
You know, like you said,
your
in
help, I
in the years
appreciate it.
past, this is a team effort. It isn't selectmen versus
I
department
know,
of
I
finance.
thank you,
So,
I know it's hard.
when I
If you
look
don't
at it,
work as a
my
team,
numbers
you're
should
gonna really
come
run
out
into some
better.
And, yeah, I know it's confusing to
Because I've
them, I
got
think
I
they were
can
told
imagine.
one night,
Reduced.
What'd you take?
2 or 3
That
nights
one's
apart.
coming up.
I
This is
I
coming
have a
down
question that you
some.
might be able to help me on.
This
with
is
the
coming down.
Ambulance fund. So I
So
gotta
I'll-
understand,
You get
so you get
300,000.
receipts
I-
1 year,
Yeah, So I
But
should,
you
I'm
actually
gonna verify
expended
it,
that
'cause
same
I
year,
worked on
but
that this
you
afternoon.
create a placeholder saying this is what we earned last year.
Just
to
plug
pay
it
for
in
next
different numbers.
Right.
I already took that 50,000 off the
invoices and
tax
receipts
collector.
reserve fund.
Oh, and
So you
local
have to go to
receipts,
the
I
town
put up
meeting
to
to find
150.
something. And what goes in there is the receivable.
1,500 instead of 12.
Collections from receivables
Okay,
from
we should
postal
get
billing,
enough.
which we
Yeah,
don't
right.
count, and they,
We'd
you know,
okay
they
with that.
build up, they
At
build
least.
up. Every year we appropriate money for the ambulance budget,
Yeah.
and then we reduce it by that. If there's any money left over in the ambulance budget at the end of the year, sometimes there is, we put it back in there. So that's an ongoing
Okay.
fund that goes on and on and on. And what we try to do is at least be able to appropriate the revenue that's coming in.
So that's almost like the ambulance's own little stabilization fund. Sometimes it goes up and sometimes it goes down, but
Yeah.
it's
But
never a
but
big number, it's just.
No, it's usually just pretty, and they usually end up with a lot of money, and that's what we use for the budget. So that's all it is, it's just, you know, oh, and then the Braintree, the Braintree contract, that goes in there too. So it's.
Now,
All right, I was,
Rob was
I knew
gonna
there
try
was
to look
some
at that
part
to
in the
see
year
if he
before,
could
but
get
I
to
wasn't-
one. Yeah,
I didn't quite understand
So
the
his
process.
might be a
But,
couple
you know,
of
that
thousand.
goes into the next
Might
year,
not see it this year.
you know.
Yeah.
Might have to
Or
do it.
receipts
No
are
money
higher
there,
next year,
Yeah,
so it's
for
budgeted.
next year.
They didn't spend the whole budget, so it's back in there, you know, like $20,000 or something back in there, so it keeps getting used up.
Also, I want to thank Gene for coming tonight
Oh,
and
yeah.
clarifying some numbers for us.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
for your help.
Thank you.
You're very calming presence here.
Well, I'll sleep better tonight, Gina. A lot of those numbers,
I'm glad you will.
I know, I
well,
will.
they were, well, those numbers were all mystery, and you've taken a lot of the
They're
mystery
magic
out.
now. No more magic numbers.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I think it's really, I appreciate that.
You feel warm, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm always warm, if I get shorts
I
on.
noticed that, it's supposed to be 30 tonight.
Make a motion to adjourn then.
Second.
Great, yeah.
Aye, aye.
All
Very
in
good.
favor?
Oh.
Aye.